Hello, welcome to my MyWebUniversity free education videos. In the series of Linux how-tos, I'm going to just cover video number 6 today. As you can see, we have already posted on our channel MyWebUniversity free education videos, 5 of them. And I'm going to just show you this presentation page, which is video number 6 for user accounts and group details. I'm going to show you on a Red Hat platform, as well as Rocky Linux, as well as Ubuntu. 3 different platforms. Even though Red Hat is a Red Hat distribution, Rocky Linux is a Fedora distribution, and Ubuntu is a Debian distribution. So I'll discuss all 3 of them in one video. Without further ado, let me just go to a slideshow on this. As you can see, we have discussed video number 1, which was how to power on, get OS version information, log out, and power off on all those 3 platforms: Red Hat, Linux, and all those 2 platforms, Red Hat and Ubuntu. On video number 2, we installed a third Linux version or flavor, which is called Rocky. That is the replacement for CentOS. And CentOS was the community enterprise edition of operating system on Linux, and that was end of life last year. So now Rocky Linux replaced it. And we installed that one as a virtual machine on video number 2. On video number 3, we discussed the graphical user interface, the GUI interface, on all these 3 platforms: Red Hat, Rocky, and Ubuntu. On video number 4, we discussed the terminal interface or the command line interface, also known as the terminal interface. And both Linux and Unix and Mac. When Mac is Unix, basically based on BSD, Berkeley Software Distribution, similar to Solaris, and Open Solaris, and FreeBSD, BSD, they're all based on BSD distribution. However, Red Hat and Rocky and Ubuntu are based on Linux distribution. They all use command line as well as GUI interface. The command line is also known as terminal interface. So I'm going to, we discussed on that video already. So I'm going to show you what we discussed on video number 5, which was the host name detail on those platforms. We logged in on each machine and run the commands that was related to host name. So you know where and in what environment, what platform are you working on, all the details on that one. In this session, video number 6, we're going to discuss user accounts and group details. So let's get started with Red Hat first, and then Rocky Linux, and then Ubuntu. On some of them, I may cover more than just one, because as many as their commands are, they're all the same. Basically, you can run it on Red Hat, the same useradd command or userdel or usermod, as well as you can run it on Rocky and Ubuntu. Similarly, like groupadd, groupdel, groupmod, you can do it on those ones as well. If you have to do other account related activity like change ownership, change permission, change mode, and change group, all those ones, the syntax of the commands are very, very close to each other, and they're not that much difference. The difference between Ubuntu and Red Hat and Ubuntu and Rocky, one is distribution of Ubuntu is Debian distribution, which the package managers and file systems are different. In terms of the file system, you may still have XFS file system, but in terms of how packages are handled, one is using apt on Ubuntu, and then Rocky and Linux and Red Hat, they're using RPM, YUM, and DNF. So RPM is basically Red Hat Package Manager, but it is supported on other platform as well. So let me just not go to the video number 7 because that would be another session. I have already prepared a number of videos, so please make sure you go to our YouTube channel and then subscribe so we could just have all these videos for you. As you can see, I have a lot of thousands of videos already in Linux, Unix, Microsoft Windows, and then PowerShell, Bash programming, shell scripting, MySQL stuff. There's a lot of them. Python, C, C++, system administration activity. So whatever you are interested, there's a video for you. You could learn and start learning it on different operating system as well as different programming languages. So let's get to the website. The website that I have here is MyWebUniversity.com, which I have also posted some of the videos that you can see there, as well as if you go to my book, The Direct Path to Linux Ubuntu. This is about 9 chapters on this book, and the table of content has 9 chapters. So if you go to, let's say, for example, the chapter 4, Advanced Unix and Linux Commands, on the Advanced Linux and Unix Commands, although I have all these commands covered by examples, and I show you these videos for each of these rows. For example, the first one, useradd, userdel, usermod, groupadd, groupdel, groupmod, users, systemctl, catman, password check, grep check. All of these commands, I have these videos, one row in one video, 8 videos for 8 rows. You can get that information from watching this video, as well as if you click on the useradd, for example, then you will see this documentation that I'm going to make it bigger, so you can see that the useradd command itself, and then what the useradd does, just basically says useradd administrator and user login on the system. And then userdel, similarly delete the user, and then usermod, modify it, and then all the details are here, as well as for what is the groupdel, groupmod, and then some examples as well. I'm just running the examples to show you that on the host, on this case, I'm creating an account. Some of them might be a Solaris machine, Unix machine, some of them might be Linux. But the syntax is very much close to all of them. For example, this useradd -d, meaning that create a new user at the export home directory. This is Solaris export home directory. That based on the /home export, I know that is Solaris syntax. But on the Linux, you could do is useradd -d. And then if there's no -d, it's another one -h or -m, and those options that are there. Like this -m, it creates a skeleton, and then it shows that shell is Ben corn shell, and then the C is the new username, and then the actual account is called a username in real name, and then the account user ID would be username. And then when you're doing like a grep on the etc password file, you see the user was created. Similarly for the shadow file, that this is locked, that means that the password has to be changed. And then this is also syntax for Solaris Unix machine, password -r files, saying that go on the etc password files and modify the etc shadow file for this user. And when you type in the password gets updated on the shadow file. Those entry gets updated. Don't worry about these number access binary or encrypted hash code or values that are just coming as a result of password encryption. And say, oh, this one, he is showing me this user. This machine doesn't exist anymore. So if somebody wants to hack a machine that doesn't exist, Best luck for that hacker. So group add a new group and then group a new group. You can just do a grep on it after you add it, and group add user mode. And so the syntax of all these things as you just go, I'm showing you some of the stuff, but I will actually practice on the actual Linux machine. So I show you some of those options that are there. This is trying to SSH with user ID that I created on this IP address, which is going to log into the machine. Then I say who am I and all that information. So you can see that ID -u, and I'll show you all of this as an example. But the documentation I created for you, just in case if you don't have a Linux machine to practice it, you can read it online and do it, or a Unix machine. You don't have it to practice. Everything is online for you to read it and understand it. I show you by examples, and this is a group dev admin users, all of those ones, they're just doing a user mod on it. So there's a lot of commands here and a lot of examples. You're welcome to read. And I'm just going through all of them in a quick browsing fashion, and then you're welcome to go to the website and just click on any of these fields, like useradd, userdel, usermod, groupadd, group. Any of these 6 that you click, you will get same page there. So because the details are all the same. For all of them. So I made one HTML file, and then for helper, and then I produced that one. This user's account is just going to show you who's logged on the system, user account. So that's also related to user. And then obviously the password file and password checker and group check, all these commands are also related to it. The passwd command is related to the accounts. So I'm going to just show you a few of those ones as well. The password check, for example, if you want to check if there's any syntax on the password file, syntax error or errors, it will just tell you when you do pw check on etc password. And then group check is on the etc group file. So you can do those ones to see if there's any anomalies on the password file or group check. You can check on those too. And then in addition, there's obviously password command, and then there's other commands which I'm going to show you next on the actual Linux machine. So let's get back to the Linux machine. In this case, I'm going to just show you the Rocky version because I already started that one first. So I'm going to just go and show here and say, let's just so if you're logged on the machine already, in this case, I'm already logged on, I can say ID, it will tell me that I'm logged on as root. And then you can see ID-UN, it tells me that the user name is root. ID-group name, it's going to show group a name is root. ID-U, and it says the user ID is 0. Similarly, the group ID is 0 for. So if I say grep -I root etc password, you will see that entry. It has a the password on the first one is this is the one entry. There's also operator that has the root home directory. So, but this one operator cannot log into the system, yet root can log in and get a home directory of /bin-bash. I'm sorry, the root, the home directory is root, and then the shell is bin-bash. So if I just say ID and -u root, you could see that there's a user ID of that one is root. I can say get int password root, and I get the same line as the first line here, as this one is the same as this one. So, and that is there. If I just clear the screen and say grep -I root, and then do head -1, that would just show that line. And similarly, if I say grep minus, I'm sorry, get end password root, and then it will show that. Since the user ID is root, I can also do $ this parentheses and then parentheses and then say uname dash dash un. That's a root there. So let me just not uname, sorry, ID dash un. That would be uname dash an. A is giving you the all of the operating system, what version you're running. So doing the ID dash un is the same as doing this, running that, and the same as just running. Let's do this, running ID dash un like that would give you root, and then I could also do a get end password and root. So those are all gonna give you the above line, and that we got output here and similarly here. So now we know that this is the root. Another way you could get the information about the account. So who am I? It just says that I'm not coming from remote, I'm logged on currently. So if I say who am I like this, it says your root. And then if I say grep minus I root etc password file, it shows me the entry on the password file, and that this is matched here for root, and then also. But I need to say that also the grep make sure that it is 0:0 is there. So that is 0:0. That is saying that user ID is 0 and group ID is also 0, and that would be matching the root there. So operator, I could exclude it, or I could say grep minus v operator. And so minus v means don't show me operator. But if I say grep minus I operator, then it should show operator, but not the first one, the root. I meaning ignore the case if it is uppercase or lowercase, but I could have just, since this one, the case was not sensitive, I could just type in there. But if I just type in with minus I like this, and then put the double quote here, and then change this one O with uppercase, it still will match, because I'm saying ignore. If I do this one with ignore, it will not show up. It does not match. $? saying that it did not find it. But now watch if I do minus I here, and then it is finding it. $? is successful 0. So that's the difference between gripping out something with the -v minus I to ignore the case, or write it the exact case that you are matching. But with the user account, so we did the grep minus I root on etc password. You can also get information saying, show me on etc group what is matching. So all the groups that have a root access, root is one of them, and then also operator has 0 as the group, and then this other one on the etc group is there. So, and the other thing is I could also check on the shadow file. So the grep command, you can match more than one commands. You can say grep minus I root etc password, etc shadow, etc group. And then if you just don't want to see the operator part, you can obviously say grep minus v operator. And then that would just only show the root information. So that is one way you can get there. If you do echo $PS1 here, Notice the PS1 is pointing to /u, meaning the user. So ID dash u n would say root. And then /host name is the local host. So when I do local host, it's going to show the local host, the local domain, but I need to cat minus d delimiter and then put a dot minus f1. This is saying, give me the host name, pipe it to this cat cut minus d delimiter dot, which means search for this dot, and then dash f1, give me the host name, field 1. If you want field 2, it will give you local domain, and that's the domain name. So we know that one is this /h, and now and that /w is equivalent to the home directory. In this case, the home directory is still that. So remember when I did get end password root. Sorry, let me just do this command first, and then id -un, and then echo $ps1. So when I do a get end password root, you see that that's default home directory as /root. And then right here, if I do a pwd, it also shows me my print working directory is /root, or tilde in this case is saying the default home directory. So if I make a directory here called test1, cd to test1, now my print working directory changed to test1. It's no longer tilde. But if I do cd tilde, cd tilde is going to take me back to my home directory. It's going to show this. If I go test1 and then I cd2 by itself without the tilde, also take me to home directory. So, and that now if I do cd to test1, I can also say cd to $home. $home environment variable is also pointing to the same thing there, which is there. So echo $pwd, print working directory, is also an environment. As soon as you change your directory to test1 and then say echo $pwd, it will point to the current working directory. So if I make another directory, say test2, and then cd to test2, now notice that I am a print working directory is there, and then home directory $test echo $pwd is still pointing to the current working directory, and then pwd lowercase also shows that one, but echo $home is still /root, because that is my home directory. So get end password, and then if I just do a backtick here and say id -un, and that will also show that /root is there. So if I just want to show you the home directory, I could say grep and then $home. That will just highlight the /root. So many ways you can see the variables that pointing to that one. Now, if I just do this pwd, notice if I do a cd by itself or tilde, it will take me to the same place as the root directory that is there. So if I go to test1, test2 directories, and two of them, test2, and then I just do this, and now I say cd tilde, it also dropped me back to my home directory. So now you understand those ones as well, and there. So now if I just clear the screen and I say, show me all the list of files here, since I'm my user ID and group ID is root, you can see is user ID is root as the name, and then 0 is that one, and group ID is also 0, and then the permission is the username is root. And I could also do id-un and id-gn to get that information. id-u will show 0, id-g will also show 0. But the name -n will show you in name kind of information. So notice that at this time, if I do ls-l, some of these files are showing that this is the main directory, that the top directory, parent directory. We call it, this is the, I'm sorry, this is the current directory. This is the parent of the current directory. So this dot means go to the parent of this directory. Now I'm currently on this directory, which is the /root. So if I go to cd to notice that ls-ld test1, this one is showing it's a directory that I created when I said mkdir command. It created this as a deed, meaning this is a directory. The ownership of the file has read, write, execute, and read -x and read -x, meaning read and execute, but not write. Since this file is on this directory is owned by root as owner, and root has all the privileges that the system could have, whether this is all dashes or all read, write, execute or anything, root could still modify this file or directory, do whatever it wants to do it. This is the owner, this is the group, and everybody else that are not root in group root or considered as others. So other people like developers and myself, you as an account holder on the system, they are called others. And then that's read -x, read and execute. And the way that is determined is from a umask. So umask is 0022. When you create a directory called mkdir new dir, by default it gives you the permission of 755 on this one. How do I know this one? Because what it happens is I just created the directory this, and it's created read, write, execute, which means 7, and then 55 read -x, and then read -x. And so an octet, this is 2 to the power of 0, is 1 to the power of 1 to the power of 2. So 1 plus 4 is 5. And here is also 1 plus 4, and this one is 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 4 is 7. So that's how that is 755. And umask, as you saw, is there by default. Whenever you create a directory, what it does, it just, I'm going to put this one as a comment. This pound means comment out. Don't interpret it by the bash interpreter. Don't ignore it. So I'm saying that it is 0777 minus 0022. So your umask that we got here is subtracted from this number for directory. So whenever you create a directory, at this time the permission would be 0755, because 7 minus 0 is 2, and 7 minus 2 is 5, and same thing for the 7 minus 2 again. So that would just give you that kind of permission. And this permission, if I just if I just change the permission, change a mode 777 new dir. Now I just made the new dir read writable by everybody. And notice that is 777. If I change that one back to 7555, it will be as if we just created the directory with that permission. So 7555 give you read, write, execute, read -x, and then read -x. This ownership of the user, you can change it to a different user and then change it back. So for example, if I have a username get and password and say Wahid, and I say, okay, yeah, I have a Wahid account. Let me just make a new dir with ownership of Wahid rather than root. So I could say change owner Wahid in new dir, and now a new dir has the permission and the ownership of Wahid. So Wahid could read, write, execute this one, even though he's not root, he can still do it because root could give it. But if I go as Wahid, log in as Wahid, and I want to change the group of this permission, I have to have sudo privilege. So let me just show you that one. So if I just exit out of here, and then I say ID here, now I'm on as user Wahid, ID-UN is there. And then notice that the new dir command versus other one. Let me just show you information on that one. ID dash group number. I'm going to say, go to the root directory. And obviously, since root is blocked, I cannot even go to the permission root. So even though I had access on root new dir, I'm not going to be able to read it because this parent directory prevents me from doing it. Why is that one? Let me just become root here. So there's two ways I can become root. Either I have to have the root account, which is saying switch user, this is SU, means a stand for switch user dash root. I could do that one. And then when I put dash and then root, either I just eliminate this variable. If it is already root, if I don't specify it, it assumes that I'm logging in as root. But if I say the dash and then give another user, Murtaza or Wahid or John or anybody, Sadaf, then I could just log in as u dash root, and Nancy, whatever account that you want to do. So here, if I just do switch user dash root, I need to have the root password. If I don't have a root password, I will not be a root. But since I am there, notice that slash root, it has the permission that is not allowing other people to read and execute. If this directory had the read and execute bit set, then I could have cd to a slash root, but it is not allowing it. And so only root as owner could read and execute that directory, and root group. So if I become my group permission is Wahid with root, then I could do that one. So right now, if I just do this one, say root and new dir, I obviously ID-UN, I am there. But let's just look at that option for Wahid to see it in there. So I could do something like this also. Sudo su dash, this will just prompt me for my current user, which is Wahid. If I have the password for my password, if I have the access to the sudo files, then I could just become a root here. So now I become root with the sudo access. So now if I say this cd to root, I can see it, but I'm still sudo, right? So now I want to just do one more thing here, and then add myself a group of root. So let's just give, in addition to the way I did this one, I want to just show you a trick that if you are sudo, obviously you can do it. But if you belong to the same group and that file was executable, and that directory was executable by the group root, that means I can cd to it. So let's just give Wahid another group access of root. So there's a few ways you can do that one. One is that do just add the user group for Wahid, group add, and then doing it, since the root is already there, we could do a usermod command or just a vim etc group file. If you do a etc group file where it says root is there, and then for Wahid, and then user Wahid is also part of the wheel group. Wheel group is there, and then let me see if what other ones are there on the options. So sysadmin root is there, and then operator. Okay, so for a second, I'm gonna just do a grep -i wahid on etc password. Notice my group is currently also 1000, which is for the user ID wahid. I can also do a new group and then add myself the group of there. So let's see, usermod, groupmod maybe. I could say, if I just modify this one and then them etc password, that's a fast way to do this one, and say wahid, and then right here I could just make myself with group 0. Let's try that one, see what happens here. Clear screen ID, and then exit out ID. Now if I just say, notice my group is still 1000. So grep new group root. Yeah, so by doing new group root, since I did that one, groups shows me that now I'm root with my group default one. So if I just do ID-UN, ID-GN, group name is now as root. So now if I do CD to root, I can CD to that directory what I wanted to do. And then if I just want to say ls-ld new dir, since I'm the owner of that one, I can CD to new dir, and then inside there, I could just touch a file or not. Let's see, make a dir new dir2, and I was able to create a file inside that directory because the parent directories were writable by Wahid as root with group root. And then since I was the owner on the new dir directory. So if I just say here at the same time, let me just do one more thing and then say touch this. Now this file got created and I'm the owner there. If I remove this file, it is there and it's gone. So clear the screen, ls-l, nothing there. If I just say ls-l dot dot, give me that listing, and I want to send this output to a file called dir.txt, and just that's the dir.txt. And so more dir.txt would show the content of above. If I do a stat on dir.txt, you can see the statistic when this file was created, the access modification, change permission, the group ID, the user ID, all the inode number, all the details are there, including this is a directory and then this is a regular file or something, the name of a file is a directory. All that details will be shown here. ls-l the star would show that ls-l let's say stat on the new dir2, you can see that this one is a directory. You can see this versus stat on the dir.txt. This is showing a regular file. And how do I know the difference on the ls-l? You can see ls-l, the dir.txt, it has this dash here, regular file. And then new dir is a directory. There's also this syntax of saying that if exists -d and new dir2, then say echo yes. So now it says echo yes, or say ls-l new d new dir. So if that command exists, then you do it. But ls-ld, and instead of echo, let's do ls, and then we just say newgrp, and it will list it. And similarly, if I just say if it does not exist, then do that one. If it does not exist, this is you have to give it a space here. This is not exist. Obviously, it exists. So this one is false. If you just say this one to an or statement, then it will just do that one. Either this one is successful or this command is successful, and the or statement would work. So if I just do similarly for the this, instead of saying if this directory exists, I could say if it's a regular file called dir.txt, then run that command, it will still do this. And if I say instead of running that one, then cat -n dir.txt. Cat -n means show the line number, and dir.txt. It will do that. So there's a lot of things with these accounts that you are doing it. Let me just create an account here. And so I could just sudo first here, sudo su dash, and then say login here. And then I could just say vim etc password, and then change this one back to 1000. I could do that one. Obviously, useradd, userdel, usermod, you could do that one also. So there's a number of commands you can do. If you want to change your shell, for example, you could do that with usermod and then -s, and instead of ben bash to ben zsh for Wahid, user Wahid. Usermod command is user sorry, not mode with D. So warning, missing non-executable shell. So the Z shell is not installed here. So in that case, if you want to just use the Z shell, and then you have to install that, which ZSH is not installed. So I have to say DNF. If I do a get end password Wahid, notice my shell is from Ben bash changed there. But if I just want to go su-wahid, now it says that ben sh is not there. So it is not good to do that one if the shell is not available for you. So what you could do is say, let me just put it back, say user mode -s / bin bash, and then user Wahid. It did it, and now if I say switch user, that shell is there, echo $shell, it is going to show that, and then also my shell is bash, and then that way I can get that to bash. But let's just go back and then first say which ZSH. So if ZSH is not there, then I need to do a DNF search and ZSH to see if ZSH package is available for me to install. And yes, it is there. So then I say DNF install ZSH. It's going to install it. And now which ZSH is going to show. If I do a ZSH, obviously, now my shell changed to ZSH. You can see here. So echo and $sign will point to the process ID of ZSH in this case. If I exit out of here and I say PS, and now I'm not in ZSH, I'm still in bash, which is 4777. Echo $sign is going to show on 477. So at this time, I'm going to do the user mode -shell / bin ZSH for the user Wahid. Now get in password Wahid. Notice that /bin is ZSH. Now, since which ZSH exists, if I say switch user to Wahid, it's gonna work fine. It is gonna just set me up for ZSH, and now you can see my environment that shows all the details of it, and now I'm on a Z shell. So the prompt change it, and if I just say PS, you can see that the $ ZSH is there. So if I just say for item and let's say sequence of 10, and then do echo, and these are the number, and then we could just say plus item, $ item, and then we could put this one all in one space here, and then do this, and then done. And you could see the information within that for statement is there. And if I want to change the sequence to rather than sequence, I could say put this curly braces and say 1 and .10 would also work. So there's a number of things you can do with it. I'm not going to go through each one of those ones with a separate video. I'm going to exit out of this one. Now I'm back in here. I'm going to exit out completely from here. Actually, before I do that one, let me just go to root directory, and all these directories and test1 and everything that I created under the subdirectory of newgrp, as well as the directory of test1. I'm going to delete all of them by cleaning it up like this: rm-rf, newgrp, and then test1. -rf means recursively, F forcing it. So if it is subdirectory, it's not gonna prompt me say, well, I cannot delete it. It's gonna delete it recursively. But be careful when you're running those kind of commands. Make sure you double check what is the machine that you're running, and then what is your ID, and where's the directory, all of that detail before you execute a command. So I'm going to exit out of this, and I'm going to exit out completely, and then I will log out of this nice session here. So power off here and say log out. And then after you log out, you can power it off. So now the account is Wahidullah, which I had the user Wahid, so I could have logged on to the system like that too. That is the machine if you just come into the VM originally to log in. That's for Rocky Linux. Now I'm going to show you the Linux Red Hat version. This is algorithm, and I'm going to click on start. I'm going to just do log into the system, and then show you the screen here. It's a fast VM, so it is going to be real quick. And then now the session is going to appear. I have 2 accounts here. I can also go something that is not listed, like root. If I just want to enable it, we can enable it, and then some other users that are not listed here. But I can log in with one user or just go log in another user. So let's say I log in with Wahidullah again here. And then as you can see here, I have a very nice graphical interface here. And then when I type in ID here, it shows that I'm Wahid. And ID dash group name is also shows that. So at this time, I'm going to exit out of this one, and then just say, let's log out of this one. Log out with the account Murtaza. Since it's a multitasking, multi-user operating system, you can log in with multiple users. So I could log in with my son's account Murtaza, which I created for demo purpose on these ones. And then you can see that software update installed. So I'll do those ones on a later package when we cover updates and packages, their DNF and stuff. So from time to time, you have to do your system software update regularly. So here I have logged on. If I open a terminal here, whether I open a terminal here or just open an xterm, the options are here. Like if I type in xterm, you will get the xterm, and then obviously the commands are similar, right? So I'm gonna just open another terminal and then say terminal. That would give me this, and then if I just make the screen a little bit bigger, so you could see my commands here. So ID-UN shows me that I'm logged on as Molutfi 10, and this is this number 10 for soccer. And so ID-group name, and it's just same thing. So now if I just do want to become root, I say switch user or sudo switch user do su dash, and then I type in the password. And if I have the password valid and I'm on the sudo files, then my ID becomes root. ID dash un username. It is going to show the same thing with group name and gname, and it's going to show that. So at this time, if I just want to clear the screen and say, okay, since I'm root, well, let me do a vi sudo. And so vi sudo is going to just show you that, for example, Molutfi 10 has Molutfi 10 has same privilege as root. On the vi sudo files, on the etc sudo files, when you do a vi sudo, if you just copy this line and then add this user account in front of it, you're giving all the privilege that root has. And there, you can also restrict it to have other privileges, but that's a different topic for different day. So let me just get out of here. And then we did not modify it. Yes, I know that. So at this time, if I just want to create an account for Murtaza's sister, my daughter, my lovely daughter, the other day was her birthday, and we enjoyed it really good. So I'm going to just do a clear screen here and do an account create for Sadaf. So let's create an account with Sadaf. Since I'm a root, that means I have the highest privilege to add user. So useradd is my friend command. I can specify all the details minus D, the directory, minus shell, the default. If I want all of them to be default, all I need is one information, and that's the account Sadaf. So this is just all lowercase. I could also call it as Lutfi for Sadaf Lutfi. And then I'm going to just call it Sadaf for here for now. And then this is her account. Now, if I say grep -i Sadaf on etc password and etc group and etc shadow, there's all this information. But notice on the etc shadow, this bang saying that I have not created the password for her yet, which I'm going to do next, and then this will just change to an encrypted password. And similarly, this is the timestamp that it says when this is going to be updated for a renewal. So you have a certain time stamp period that you have to update your password. Otherwise, it expires, and then you cannot log in if you haven't logged on to the system for a while. So at this time, I'm going to say use the passwd command, and the account name is Sadaf. So it's going to prompt me for the password. I type in the password here. a strong password you have to choose. Has to be more than 8 characters long, and it has to be a combination of uppercase, lowercase. It can be like words or names and pet's name and date of birth. It cannot be those ones. It has to have a combination of uppercase, lowercase, and then some special characters, and has to be strong. So it cannot be brute force by like a dictionary words. It cannot be used that one. So at this time I created an account. I can also do grep -i password on etc password, etc shadow, and then etc group. So I could do that one. And notice I use the word password rather than sadaf. So I need to do sadaf, and then that would give me all the information there. So I'm going to clear the screen, and then I can always change the password, and these machines are not going to be available on the online. They are just for demo, and by the time I start the video, posted it, these machines are down, and then the account doesn't exist. I delete it. So here we go with this information for the account. So now if I just switch user to Sadaf, which you created here, it shows that this account is there. Notice the home directory is there. Get end password Sadaf tells me that I have a very good account. ID-U is showing 1002. ID-G also there, but ID-UN shows Sadaf, and ID-group and group name also Sadaf. And then echo $, shell is going to show /bin bash, and echo $ home is going to show /home Sadaf. So that is there, but at this time, since I have not added to the sudo, if I try to do switch user do, it's going to say, do you have the password? I say, yeah, let me try that one, see if the administrator gave me the access to do root level activity. Then it says Sadaf is not in the sudo files. This incident will be reported to home. So it is just kind of like a information that it just tells you that there's nothing to report in this case. And so what I'm going to do is become Murtaza back here. Now I say vi sudo, and then I'm going to modify mo lutfi 10. I'm going to just do let me just quit out of here. I'm going to make a vi sudo, and then search for /mo lutfi 10. So once you find it, mo lutfi 10, let me just search for mo lutfi 10, and then right here, why is it going? Let me just see something. Mo lutfi 10. Okay, so once you search it, you go escape, and then P for copying it, and now the new user is Sadaf. So you could also copy this line and change the root to Sadaf. Since that as account is there, I want to just WQ and quit it. If I go back here, and now Sadaf is there, so set a list, you can see that all the information is accurate. So grep -i Sadaf from etc sudo file, you can see that I have the permission. Now if I switch user to Sadaf, and then ID here, and then I say, okay, switch user as this, switch sudo su dash, and this time is not going to say this incident is going to be reported, because we do have on the etc sudoers files, her account is right here, and you can see that it is all permissions are there. So now id-un is giving you that is the same thing as id-un. So if I just want to do something different on our account, obviously I can also do the same thing with user mode or group mode, but I'm not going to do any of that one. I'm going to exit out of the user account Murtaza, and then let's just exit out all the way here and go back here, log out, and then say log out, and so log out here, and then at this time I'm going to log and instead of Murtaza, I'm going to log in as Sadaf here, and then to show you that this is also there. So this is coming for the first time. It's giving me those tour tests and everything, but notice that I'm on the same machine here, so I could open a terminal and then just run commands as well here. See, uname-a, and then if I just do a listing, the files that I have are all ownership of Sadaf. So patch this and then say that this file rm this, and then now it's clear the screen, and then extern minus bg and dark blue minus foreground white minus font size is 17 minus face is New York. You could open a terminal and then do these commands here: calendar, clear screen, df-h, and so on, right? We could do as many commands as you want, and then clear screen, and then just changing this one to a dark green, for example, dark green. You could just do this one. If you just didn't like the green was not dark enough, you could just say the HTML code is 0025 would be dark here. Red is 0, and then green is 25, and blue is that, so 0 also. And then calendar, and then run those commands. And then you could do many other things. So with sudo, let me just make this screen a little bit bigger. So right here, I could say, let's just switch user to root. And then since I have sudo access, I can also do sudo if I have the root access. So switch user dash root. Let's see, the password, maybe I mistyped it. No, it's, I'm going to do sudo su dash root. And then we don't need to type in dash here. And I'm going to just try the password. And then right here, I did that one. And so at this time, since I'm having this switch user do sudo privilege, I could just add another user, say useradd demo1. So now password demo1, and then I'm gonna type in the password for demo1 also. And then when you do a switch user demo1, now I'm on user demo1, pwd ls-l, clear screen, get in, password, and demo1. You can see everything is there. So clear screen, ls-l, touch this file, ls-l this file, and then rm this file. So you can do whatever you want with that one. Now I'm going to just do a userdel, userdel demo1. So you can do that userdel demo1 here, and then now grep -i demo1 on etc password, etc shadow, etc group, nothing exists, just because we deleted it. But if I just want to recreate it here, useradd demo1, and it says that warning that your home directory already exists. So the home directory, previously when we did it, we did not say delete the home directory as well. So slash home and demo1 already existed, because usually, and the userdel wants to be careful, it does not tamper with data. So it is assuming that the user had some sort of project that he was working on. It does not delete all the directory. It is, as a system admin, your job to just go clean and then maybe give it to the developers team or some other project manager or someone to say, these are the files that this user had. Do you need them, or we can wipe it out from the system for good? So you can do this one. So now grep -i demo1, etc password, etc shadow, and etc group. All of that one are there. So if I just say userdel demo1, it will delete it, but slash grep -i demo1, etc password, etc shadow, etc group, it's not going to point to anything, but slash home, there's a directory called demo1 that it says, well, this directory got created, now the ownership does not exist. That's why that user ID 1003 is not pointing to anything. Originally it was demo1, and the group ID was also demo1. So and it goes in sequence. The first one was Wahid was 1000, Murtaza was 1002, and then demo2 is, or Saddam was 1002. Maybe let me just see, grep -i Wahid etc password. So if I had the 1000, Murtaza had the 1001, Saddam had the 1002, and then demo1 had the Murtaza had the 1001, and then demo had the 1003. So we could just say, well, in this directory demo1, what is the content of it? It's empty, and so I say rmdir demo1 now is not empty. So cd to demo1, let's see what is there. Even though it does not show anything here, you have to do ls -la. LA meaning all files, including hidden. All these .bash history, .bash logout, these are profiles for bash or C based on the shell that it was created. These files are there by default. Like for example, more.bash or C, this file, it just sets the profile. It all the aliases, all the information that you need to have set, it is doing that one. So I could just do rm here -rf dot star here, or I could just come back here on the directory and say rm -rf demo1. This will just delete the demo1, including the hidden files and subdirectories. This -r again is recursively forcing it. So all these files will be wiped out. Please make sure that whenever you run the rm command with -rf, make sure that you know what you're doing. And this is for sure a directory that you're deleting, and then the content will be wiped out. So make sure that you test it yourself. Find out what machine you are, what directory you are, and what is the user ID, and what directory or accounts you want to do something with it. So another thing is that if you want to just delete another account or something, you could do that. So at this time, I'm gonna exit out of this one, log out, power off, log out here, and then just say log out. I'm going to log into one more machine, which is a Linux Debian distribution. It's called MyWebUniversity.com. That's also a VM. So I log into this one. And similar commands that was working for the user account and group account, I was working on this one as well. So nothing different in terms of the shells that are available for it, and then the commands that are available. You can just always log in. So at this time, I have one account called Wahid. I'm going to log in on this one. And that's the interface that comes out for every profile that you create. And this is a desktop server on a Linux Ubuntu. The difference between a client and a desktop and a server and a workstation is that just the processes that are running on the system, whether some daemons that are running or some just client related software. All those processes will determine what is in the system. Also, the server has a lot of resources compared to client. The client could be even headless, but doesn't have to have a desk. It could be just a terminal session or something like a cell phone or something, portable information. But on the server side, usually are bigger resources, bigger memory, RAM, and bigger number of CPUs and everything. So the accounts are going to be created there, or important in terms of the enterprise level. So open in terminal here. I just opened the terminal. Notice this one, I have a customized prompt. Again, this making this screen bigger a little bit. So if you could see echo $ PS1, it's a prompt shell 1 is pointing to /u again, which is this user ID Wahid, and then @ and then this is the @ and then the h meaning the host name, and /h will give you the host name, and then this colon after the colon is this Debian stuff that is coming with the color options that are giving you different color up to this point, and then /w is the tilde in this case, which is the home directory. And this case, I'm on the desktop, so it's tilde, and desktop is this /w. And then after that one, change the color, and then go back to $ as the prompt, white color. So here I go ID-UN, it will tell me the same thing. ID-group name is going to show that as well. Host name is going to show MyWebUniversity, the host name, which is the /h. And then pwd, it shows me that I'm on a desktop directory, which is this. So if I do a cd ... meaning go to the parent directory, I'm on the tilde, which is my main home directory. So echo $home is pointing to the same thing in this case, that I'm pointing to the pwd. Echo $print working directory also shows that one. By the way, you can do braces around this, will be same thing, but this braces is more safer if you have blank spaces or some kind of directory and then files. You want to put it in between, and the variable in between the braces. So env, it gives you all the environment variables. Env grep like pwd will just show you the print working directory, or home will show you home. And then if you do echo $home, it is the same thing that is above there, except on one of them I did a grep on it. So grep home itself will show that in color. And then the way I know that one is grep home, lowercase home -i. And then that would also show that. So if you look at the options, aliases that's on the bash or C file, One of them is grep. So alias grep command, you can see that the dash color is auto, meaning that when I do a grep, for example, on a host name or my web university, my web university on the etc host file, you will see if it is anything on the host name. Maybe I did type in something different. So let me do a first cat -n here, cat -n space here, and then clear the screen my web university. So you could do also that grep command should have worked if I typed it with -i here, meaning ignore the case. If I just did this one, would have also worked. My web university, my web university, because it is case sensitive, so Linux is going to match it 1-1. But if you do -i for ignoring the case, it will do that. So as I showed you on the aliases, you have a number of them, but at the same time I showed you echo $PS1 is showing that is there. How does it know that one? There's a file called .bash or C. Since I'm using the bash and getm password Wahid, it's showing bin bash or echo $. Shell is pointing to bin bash. Since that is there, so the file .bash or C, this .bash or C, since this bash, it just creates a hidden file called for hidden file bash, which is a shell, and RC for RAM control. So when you look at the content of that file, cat -n .bash or C, it is just a lot of lines in it, but some of them are aliases, some of them are these prompts. So if I just do a grep for PS1 in uppercase, you will see that the lines that are setting the same as echo $PS1. So that's your prompt shell 1, meaning that this is dynamic. As soon as you do a pwd here, if you cd to desktop, and then that desktop directory changes, this prompt shell 1 automatically change your shell to this. If I say make a dir a new dir, and then now cd to new dir, now on new dir, and then pwd, it shows that one. So as soon as notice that prompt shell 1 has this /w, and /w is wherever you take it, it will just take you there. So if I do cd ... now it says /w is pointing to the desktop. cd ... it's gonna do this one. Clear screen and then say pwd cd to root directory. Now I'm on the root directory. So echo $pwd is also pointing to that, as well as print working directory command. Echo $home though, it is still showing /home Wahid there. So those are when I say dynamic, echo $PS1, whatever you cd to, that directory is going to be changing on this one. So if I just do a pwd on root here, if I do a cd here, because my $home is /Wahid, now it cd to my home directory Wahid. If I go here on the root and I say cd to tilde, I'm back to home Wahid. So cd to / clear screen, pwd here, / is there, cd to tilde, it's going to take me to home directory. cd to desktop, and then I'm just on the desktop. So cd ... now I'm on my home directory. On the home directory, I can get the list of all the files that are there. Make another directory here if I don't have the ownership to create it, because this directory of /home permissions is important. So now I'm only logged on as Wahid. I cannot say make a directory test1. I will get the permission denied. So notice that here, ls-ld home, it just says home. You have to be having a root to create a directory here. The other peoples that are not root, they are not having permissions. So if you're root as the owner, you can read and write to that directory, meaning that you can create a directory. But with Wahid ID and -un Wahid, I cannot say make dir and test1 is going to say permission denied. In order for me to do it, since I have sudo access, I just put sudo in front of it, and then I type in password, and now it is done. But now if I just say rmdir test1, again, it's going to prompt me the same thing. So then I have to do sudo. So sometimes it is sudo is one command is safer. While you're doing the sudo, make sure that you're doing those activity and kind of watching what you're doing rather than trying to do it fast. So if I just say make dir this one sudo test1, now I created this one. And if I just did not want to do another sudo, another one, every time say make dir test2, then again do this one, I could do sudo is u-, you become root one time, and now I'm going to just go to home directory and then say clear screen, and then if I just say for I statement, I in let's say sequence of 10 directory, or just not 10, let's make it 5, 5, and then I'm gonna delete the test1 first, rmdir test1. Let's say that directory doesn't exist, and I want to just create a directory test1 through test5. So if I want to do all of them on this directory here, I could say for I in sequence 5, and then do say make dir, actually say echo creating directory test $. I now you do that one, and then say make dir test $I, and then say done. So now it just said creating directory test1 this time, and now let's see all the directory was created. So if I want to do it programmatically, I could do that one for thousands of files, right? At the same time, instead of creating that the dir, I can go revise this for statement, and instead of creating, I could say removing now. Echo, and we say removing. And then instead of make dir, I say rmdir. Rmdir. Since they're empty, they're all gone. How nice is that, right? So you can do it with thousands of files and everything. But those ones are power of shell scripting and command line scripting that you can do. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you subscribe so you get a lot of nice videos for free. And subscription on YouTube channel is also free. So you're not losing anything by just subscribing, but you're adding to your knowledge and to your skill set. Everywhere you go, you will transfer that information to somebody else. That would be greatly appreciated by me if you just could help others as well. God bless you all. Take care. Have fun. Bye-bye.